This video is sponsored by PCBWay. Welcome everyone! In this video I show you my attempt at building a full-frame compatible line scan camera using the TCD1304 linear CCD. I have several projects based on this CCD and I have actually already tried to build a full-frame scan camera as well. But this time I dropped the sophisticated mechanics from the camera and instead I focus more on software and data processing, until I can come up with and assemble a proper mechanism to move the CCD to scan the image plane of a lens. I have the CCD fixed in the center of the image plane and move either the object I want to capture or the camera. I have really carefully described how the TCD1304 linear CCD works and how one can configure an STM32F401 CCU6 microcontroller to drive it and acquire its signal, so I'm not going to repeat it here. I have an article on my website where I showed everything, so please check it. Plus, I made a breakout board and a standalone board for the CCD, so it can be used for different applications in an easy way. If you are interested in these boards, please head over to my PCBWay project page and get either only the circuit board, so you can assemble it yourself, or consider using PCBWay's assembly services, so you can get a ready-to-use PCB. If you are quick, you can still catch their Christmas promotion, but either way, they have competitive pricing and discounts all year round. So head over to PCBWay and get your gadgets from them. They don't just offer PCB related products and services, but also 3D printing and metalworking related ones, so you can get everything for your project at one place. This time, I will focus more on the practical stuff around the line scan camera and its working principles. Imagine a regular camera first. The camera projects the 3D scenery onto a 2D sensor, which can be a CCD, CMOS, film, imaging plate, or something else. The lens captures a smaller section of the 3D scenery according to its field of view. Now imagine removing almost all the columns of pixels from the 2D sensor and keeping only a single one in the center. Now the camera does not see the whole field of view of the lens, but it only sees a thin one-dimensional line at the center of the field of view. So instead of a CCD matrix, now there is only a CCD line. Exactly what this TCD1304 is. In this case, the whole CD scenery is my workbench. The camera only sees a small section of it, according to the field of view rendered by the lens. This field of view appears on the captured image as the 2D projection of the 3D scenery. This scenery is then further cropped to keep only the pixels in the center line to mimic what a linear CCD array would see. The CCD has 8 micrometers tall and 200 micrometers wide pixels, 3648 of them. So in the case of a full-frame camera, this single column of pixels covers the center of the projected image with 3648 pixels. And here comes the fun part. This 24mm times 36mm rectangle is the size of the sensor or the film, but not the actual image projected by the lens. The lens projects a circle, and to cover the rectangle, it has to project at least as large a circle as the diagonal of the rectangle. After using the Pythagorean theorem, the diagonal turns out to be 43.26mm. So actually at the center of the frame, the visible image is not 24mm tall, as the height of the sensor or film, but in fact at least 43.26mm. And this is fantastic news, because we can utilize the full 29.1mm length of the sensor area of the CCD. This, in fact, renders the nominal field of view of a lens larger. The field of view or focal length of the lens is usually defined for a full-frame sensor. Similarly, when a full-frame lens has a crop factor larger than 1 when it is used in an APS-C camera, it works the other way around too. The full-frame lens here should have a crop factor smaller than 1, something like 0.82, when it is used with a sensor that can capture a larger portion of the projected image. So if we put the sensor in the center of the image plane, the TCD1304 will only see a single line of the projected image. If we were to move the sensor across the whole plane's horizontal axis, we could capture the whole 2D image, and this is essentially a scanner, which I already attempted to build some years ago. But now I take a different approach. Instead of moving the CCD, I keep it fixed in the center, and I rotate either the whole camera or the subject, or I take pictures of subjects that move in front of the camera in a linear trajectory. This can be a passing car, a cyclist, train, or something else. By either rotating the camera or the subject, I will be able to capture panoramic pictures of the subject or the scenery. If I rotate the camera, I can capture a 360 degrees image of the scenery, and if I rotate the subject, for example a tin can or anything fairly cylindrical, I can scan its whole curved surface. Just to clarify, this is not at all a new thing. Even satellites, like the Pioneer 10, used a similar technique to capture images. At that time, somewhere in the 60s to the 80s, this technique was widely used because the 2D CCD or CMOS arrays either did not exist or they were very rudimentary. Then they finally took over, but the 1D sensors still stayed relevant in some niche applications. The industry also uses these cameras because they can operate at extremely high speeds and they are ideal for inspecting surfaces and other features. As I said, I used my TCD1304 standalone board with an STM32F401 CCU6 microcontroller. The microcontroller sends the data to the computer via USB, where custom software I wrote in C# captures the lines and arranges them into an intelligible picture. I optimized both my STM32 firmware and my C# software, and I can fetch lines at a rate of nearly 70 fps. It makes scanning a 360 degrees image relatively fast. I added a 2.8-inch LCD with an SD card module to the system and made it work. So this is really a camera now. It can show the live image of the CCD with a high frame rate, and at the same time it can save the lines on an SD card. The user can generate a preview scan without saving the contents of the SD card, and if the light and focus conditions are acceptable, a new scan can be started and the contents can be saved on an SD card. As of now, the image is saved on the SD card in a binary format. So if we want to convert it into a viewable picture, we need to convert it into a bitmap on the computer when we view the contents of the SD card. Each picture is saved into an individual file, so they can be distinguished when they need to be processed. The image is saved on the memory card as is, and this has a few implications. First of all, as I mentioned, the CCD is larger than the projected image of the full-frame lens along the vertical axis. Therefore, the actual field of view captured by the linear CCD is larger than the default field of view of the lens. However, this doesn't matter. When I print the lines on the display, I print the full captured line. I just downscale it to 240 pixels, which is the height of the display. Also, there is no auto brightness or contrast adjustment during capturing. This can result in poor contrast when printing the image on the display, but the image can be improved on the PC in post-processing. The scanning is infinite. This means that the generated output image is 3694 pixels tall and x pixels long, where x is up to the user's discretion. This must be treated with care because the files could grow large easily, like several hundred megabytes. I added a frame counter to the top right corner of the display, so the user can keep track of the number of lines scanned. Also, since we don't know the scan length in advance, the x-axis is kept as is and it is not scaled down. So it can display 320 lines at a time. But once the display is full, it wraps around, and after the 320th column is populated with a scanned line, the next scanned line will be placed in the first column, and the previous line in the first column gets replaced. This strategy allows us to scan indefinitely without any magic algorithm or guesses to predict the necessary downscaling of the x-axis. As I mentioned, the key component, the image sensor, is the TCD1304 linear CCD. The sensor is driven and read by an STM32F401 CCU6 microcontroller. This is a fantastic microcontroller with a very strong hardware and many peripherals. It has many timers, which are crucial for driving the CCD. It has a high-speed ADC, so the pixels of the CCD can be captured properly, and it has native USB, multiple SPI buses, and many GPIO pins, which are all appreciated in this project. The presence of multiple SPI buses is a blessing, because I used several PA pins, which coincide with the pins of the SPI1 bus. So I simply used SPI2 instead. The SPI is used both for the display and the onboard SD card reader. And before any questions or comments, yes, I know that this display also has a touch module, but I found it unnecessary to use and I prefer physical controls. So I do not use the touch module of the display. Instead, I use my old debounced rotary encoder module to control the camera. Software-wise, the camera can run in capture and preview mode, plus we can change the integration time and the capture frequency. So there are not many things to take care of, and it is easy to implement an interrupt-based encoder handling. The wall camera sits in a 3D printed housing. The housing consists of two shells, the main camera body and the rear panel. The camera body received the metal M42 flange I recovered from a broken old film camera. This body also accommodates the sensor mounted on my TCD1304 sensor board, the STM32 microcontroller, and the rotary encoder. I mounted the microcontroller in a way that its USB port faces the hole on the bottom of the housing. I didn't implement a battery in this initial version just yet. Instead, I power the microcontroller from a power bank, and then the microcontroller board provides power for the rest of the components. A future iteration might receive a built-in lithium battery with a charger and everything, but I'm planning to make further iterations of this camera, and therefore the battery is not at the top of the priorities. The rotary encoder is attached to the housing similarly as the exposure buttons on regular cameras. But aside from starting and stopping the capturing process, it also has other functions. It is also used for navigation and changing parameters. The rear panel accommodates the display module. The SD card slot is accessible from the top. The SD card sticks out a little bit, but in order to keep the housing sleek, I was okay to accept this issue. It is a DIY gadget, not a mass-produced consumer product anyway. There is one more thing I haven't implemented, and again, it is on purpose. I could have added a stepper motor setup to the microcontroller, so it could drive a stepper motor that is synchronized with the capturing of the frames. For example, this would work very well for scanning panoramic images or driving a rotary platform to scan cylindrical objects. However, if I wanted to add it to the camera directly, I would have encountered the issue of power supply because the stepper motor driver requires a higher voltage than the microcontroller and other peripherals. So for now, I just have a totally independent driving based on my stepper motor platform. It does the job for now, and later when I exactly know what I want with this camera, I might incorporate the stepper motor. I also designed and built a simple but sturdy rotating platform, both for rotating the camera and for rotating cylindrical objects like tin cans and containers. The platform is mainly 3D printed and it is driven by a NEMA 23 stepper motor. To not spend too much time controlling the stepper motor, I just used my stepper motor development platform. I reprogrammed the microcontroller and implemented a simple driving routine that drives the stepper motor at a certain speed defined in steps per second. So as a test, I scanned my workbench and some objects I found around my kitchen. The outcome is not too bad, however, at very large magnifications, it definitely looks pixelated and blurry. But this is a matter of matching the scanning speed or line rate with the rotational motion. Perhaps the pixelated image is not only a resolution or step size issue, but also a motion blur issue. Once again, it is just a matter of setting the correct parameters. So now, as you can see, I made a linear scan camera, which can scan different objects and sceneries. I wrote a very detailed article on my website, and they are also accompanied by many pictures, so please go to my website and read the article. Also, if you want to replicate this project, visit my PCBWay project page, because I have the breakout board for the CCD there. So I hope you like this video, I hope you learned something, and see you in the next video.